Hot Mike is live on location. We're in Wahpeton this morning, Cody Mauch's second annual football camp. The big man starts the show, which begins now.
Hot Mike with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mike.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mike. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Tuesday morning. Welcome to the Back on the Road edition of Hot Mike. Today we are in Wahpeton, North Dakota for what's going to be a great football day down here. The second annual Cody Mauch football camp set to get going in about an hour with 500 kids going to be here today. 250 about an hour, another 250 coming up later this afternoon. A bunch of former Bison are going to be here today that are playing in the NFL as well. And how about right off the hop, we get the big man himself to join us. First off, congratulations are in order. The wedding was on Saturday. Looked like it was a great day.
Yeah, it was a great day. It's just, so much planning goes into that, and just the day just flies by. You don't remember who you talked to.
No.
It's, all of a sudden you wake up and the day's over. It's about how it felt.
You had about over 500 people,
Yeah,
I heard.
The guest list was 502, so it was just so many people, as it always is with us.
We were talking in March when you were back for Bison Pro Day about getting ready for it, and a great day. It was warm, so glad you guys were inside. It looked like everything went well.
Yeah, it was good. The tornadoes came through the night before. That was obviously not great, but everyone still had a good time, with even barring all the weather and how hot it was on Saturday. So sweaty pictures, that's for sure.
How many Bison were in the wedding party?
Oh, gosh. I mean, I had 9 groomsmen and 6 ushers, and I bet about over half of them were Bison guys. So it was good. We had a good crew of Bison guys there.
That's awesome. This is great to be back here. You and I chatted this time last year about getting this off the ground and being down here, the amount of kids that came out. You had to tell people, turn people away. It was that many. So now you decided to do 2. Tell me about that, about the decision to break it up and do 2 sessions today.
Well, our whole thing was last year, first year doing a camp, you have no idea how many kids are going to want to do it. So we kind of had, I think it was 300 last year. We're like, that's probably a good starting point. I think the camp sold out in like 25 minutes. Right. So we're like, okay, well, we were kind of, at capacity last year and figured this year, let's try to open it up to a little bit more and kind of see how this goes. So we've got, 250 in the morning, 250 in the afternoon. Yeah. Again, sold out, so that's awesome, and we'll see. Maybe it'll just keep on growing. Eventually, all of Southeast North Dakota will be here one of these years.
What did you learn from last year outside of, hey, we need to expand it to we wanted to apply for this year?
First time doing a camp, you kind of learn on the fly, I think. Like, you got your little program here, how everything's supposed to go, but I think just how to run things smoother is the biggest thing. There's sometimes some of the groups had a little bit of free time at the end, so just trying to, I guess, give them more drills or more fun stuff to do. So that's the biggest thing, just make it run smoother.
There's just one of you, so how do you divvy up your time so you can spend as much time to each kid, not every kid that's here, but each station that's set up? Yeah,
well, I think we have 2 less stations than last year. Okay. That definitely helps. There'll be bigger groups, but there will be more, I think, for the kids to do. And we have so many good volunteers, too, which is the biggest thing. And, I just have, some guys just kind of take these different groups, and I'll just kind of roam around and try to interact as much as I can. So I honestly got the easy job. I just get to run around and just go play catch with kids while camp's going on. So, no, it should be a fun day.
Well, your response to it, Cody, was obviously through the roof. I'll ask you, did that surprise you that this many wanted to come and do it?
I mean, yeah, like you always feel kind of weird, I guess, throwing a camp kind of with your name on, associated with the camp. Like that it feels a little weird, but the feedback we've heard from everyone had a great time last year. Everyone so excited for this year. So, I mean, that's always something to be really happy about. It's just that the kids really love coming, and our volunteers love helping, and everyone has a good time associated with it.
Well, you got us a dynamite weather day, so that's fantastic. That's going to help down here. What are you hoping to get out of it for kids that necessarily, well, maybe football's not their thing, but to come out and do this today?
I think a couple things. Like, one of the biggest things is, I mean, like you said, it's a beautiful day. Like, if it stays like this, what is it right now? 70 and sunny.
Right.
It's no breeze. Like, this is just a great day. Kids can just come out and get active a little bit.
Yeah.
It is really the biggest thing. And also for some kids, maybe it's their first exposure to any kind of sport or football or anything like that. So maybe just help them start to build the love for the game, or the love for doing stuff outside. Just really anything like that. I don't want to. Kids nowadays, sometimes maybe they're a little bit more cooped up inside and whatnot. So I think growing up, we did stuff outside all the time, and I think that's part of why we love playing sports, football, so much. So hopefully they just have a good time enjoying the weather and just being outside.
Did you do any of this growing up at camp? Like, was there one that stood out to you that made an impact on you?
I remember doing the Phil Hansen camp over at the Wapaton Science School over there.
Okay.
I remember doing that. Gosh, I was. I don't remember the last time he did the camp, but I was young. I don't really remember the camp too much, but I remember the T-shirt. I'll tell you that. I had that T-shirt for years. I don't. I don't think so. My mom probably has it somewhere, but I just remember how cool that was.
Yeah.
Former Bison, former NFL, great, really. Just how cool that was. So hopefully the kids, if they feel anything close to how I felt going to that camp as a kid, I know I'm doing something
So
right.
That left an imprint on you going to that.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, it's just back then, like seeing anything tagged with Bison or NFL, you're like, this guy is, just huge. Like it's just so cool, like to even just see him walking around. And we all remember how great that camp was.
So we have a chance to address everybody today. Is that on the schedule? And then what's your message going to be when you have a chance to talk to everybody?
I'd say the biggest thing is kind of just what we alluded to a little bit earlier. Just like, hey, you might not love, some of these kids, no one's going to want to do the offensive line drills, but just everything that you do, just have fun doing it. I mean, you're here with a bunch of, kids around your same age, and just have a good time. That's really what it's all about. So I hope that the one thing they can take away is just that football's fun, and we're outside just having a good time.
I want to chat a little bit. Obviously, we talked in March after getting ready for Bison Pro Day, and obviously with what Gray went through, and Gray's going to be here today, which is, I know, got to be a really neat deal. He was with you side by side throughout your entire draft process. What were the conversations like that you had with him those final few weeks leading up to the draft?
Yeah, no, we talked. I mean, we talked all the time during that process just because I had just freshly been through it. So, the whole interview process, all the Senior Bowls and Combine and everything, all the visits he took to these different teams. Like, I had kind of gone through the exact same thing 2 years before. So we had a lot. He just had questions about stuff. We had the same kind of anxiety, I think, about how weird it is that in a week, who knows where you're going to live, for the next X amount of years. So just how crazy that whole process is. It was nice to, I guess, have each other to kind of, go through that a little bit.
Just to bounce ideas off of?
Definitely. Yeah. He handled it all well, though. I mean, just talking to him during the process and after, I think he just crushed it.
So I think when you and I talked, he was potentially somewhere maybe late first round, early second round. He ends up going 18th overall. When you saw that, what went through your mind?
Oh gosh, that was electric. I mean, I remember where I was when I was watching. So we went to a Tampa Bay Lightning playoff hockey game, which first ever hockky game.
Is that okay? How was that?
Oh my God, that was unreal. I like playoff hockey. That's pretty
good.
That's pretty cool live. But we were on our way out after the game, and we're all just kind of watching the draft on our phone a little bit, and I kind of knew the Seahawks might be looking at Gray a little bit, so pick 18 rolls around. I just kind of locked in a little bit more, and you see his name, and it's just like, oh my God, like there's nothing cooler than seeing one of your best friends get drafted, especially as high as he did. Yeah. I was just cheering, and all my buddies are like what are you doing? What's the deal? I'm like, well, this is cool. Yeah.
Guy that you played side by side with, you saw basically grow up. Honestly, when he got to Fargo, and I believe Seattle and Tampa play each other on the schedule this year. What do you make of that?
Yeah, we've been beefing a lot about it. At the wedding, all the festivities this last weekend. We were pretty sure it's October 5th is what it is.
I figured somebody would know.
Well, we were trash talking a little bit, and it's all good.
And they
fun.
come to you guys, correct?
We go out
you go
them.
there. Okay,
so, that'll be
a long trip.
Tampa to Seattle will be a fun flight, but we'll get a lot of Mario Kart in on that flight probably.
the fact, obviously, your quarterback gets drafted as well. That's 4 quarterbacks in a row from North Dakota State that are going to the National Football League. You had a chance to block for a couple of these guys. What's that mean to you?
I mean, it's just so cool. Like at this point, it's tough to refute that NDSU's QB. Like look at like you said, the last 4 quarterbacks all drafted. It's the coolest thing ever. Like so happy for Cam. Like that was so cool for him. Seems like he'll fit in good there. Yeah. And at this point, like why would you not want to, let alone come to NDSU, but come to NDSU to be an offensive lineman or a quarterback?
Well, the fact that some of these, you've spent a couple of years now, been removed, but some of these guys that came in when you were either a true freshman, redshirt freshman, now are going to get a chance to play. How much do you talk with the guy now that Gray's moved on? Do you still have a connection to what's going on with the Bison offensive line?
Yeah, a little bit. I try to kind of. The problem, like, it's starting to get to the point where I hardly know the guys anymore. They're all so much younger, but I'm still always a part of it. Just trying to, I guess, follow along with kind of who's going to fill these roles and whatnot. And it seems like every year, we're the typical old heads who are like, oh, the offensive line's not going to be as good as when we were. And then every single year they just keep pumping out these guys and they have great offensive lines. So, no, NDSU, if they know how to do one thing, it's develop players and develop offensive linemen.
Your former offensive line coach is now the offensive coordinator. What do you make of Dan Larson now taking over as OC?
Yeah, pumped for him. I mean, just listening to him during position meetings when I was in college, the guy knew ball. That was his biggest thing. We'd be talking offensive line stuff, and he's talking about route concepts and safety rotations, and we're like, we don't care. Yeah, maybe we got to read the safeties every now and then, but we don't care once this is all going. No, really excited for him. He's gonna kill it. He's such a good guy.
We've got another guy coming here as well. Ada's Mason Miller, who's also with the Detroit Lions, with Tyler Roll. I know is so close to you. What do you make of Mace, of the way he blew up as well at the end of the year, and now got a shot in the NFL too?
Yeah, I think in that class we knew. I think when they were freshmen, we're like, those two guys are going to be special. I mean, just the frames that they had, and then watching them develop. Like we knew that those two were going to be great offensive linemen. I was so pumped when I saw Mace sign with the Lions. I think it's a good fit for him. T-Roll's there as well, which is, I mean, it's just knowing, going to a team where you don't know anybody. Like, it's nice to at least have a familiar face there in T-Roll, and also to have it be T-Roll. He's the most personable guy ever. Like, it'd be awesome to walk through a facility and just be able to BS with T-Roll again.
Although you and the Lions, you guys got a long history there. I know they got you you got them this past year after they got you in the playoffs the year prior. Yeah, they got us. My rookie year, they beat us twice. Yeah. We got them last year, and we got them again this year. So it just seems like it's kind of a good little back and forth battle. So how was the rematch with Aiden Hutchinson go after the playoffs the year prior? He got. I think he had 4 sacks against us. So we. Not on you though. No, well, yeah, maybe one on me, but no, he's a special ball player, and he's as much as you can game plan and film study on him. He's just a guy who's just gonna win sometimes. He's just that kind of player. So I got your PFF. I don't know. You look at your Pro Football Focus stats. Is that something you focus on? No, I try to stay away from that. So 2 total penalties last year. You got to be really proud. 1 holding call. That's it. You played over 1,000, almost 1,200 snaps. You didn't miss one. I know you got to be proud about that. That's probably the biggest thing I'm proud of in my entire career so far is 2 years and just playing all these snaps. Like it's just like that's the coolest thing to me is just being able to stay healthy. I think it's a long season and so happy to be out there for the entire season. These little injuries are going to happen, but just to be able to play through some of them and whatnot, and just be out there and be available is something I'm proud of. 2 total sacks allowed last year. That's pretty darn good. Yeah, I had a good step up from the year before. I had a kind of a tough rookie year. It's just you're learning so much, but learned a lot, I think, in that off season going into year 2. So I'm really just hoping I can do the same thing going into year 3. You have a new offensive coordinator as well. How does that change things again that you're dealing with that? Yeah, I mean, shoot, that's the third offensive coordinator. 3, right? Yeah. So thankfully, nothing really changed too much. Little nuances here and there, but it's still relatively the same system. So that was nice for us coming into OTAs, just having relatively the same playbook and kind of guys knowing what we're doing. It's not as much learning as it is just perfecting your craft at that point. So, Grizz is awesome, though. We love him. We see Baker Mayfield either the commercials or obviously playing. What's he like as a teammate and a guy to block for? Yeah, he's
Like I can't say enough good things about him. He's just a dude. Like he's one of the guys. Like we love him to death. He's like he's just a friend. You know, like he's such a good dude. It's just so cool to be able to block for a guy like that.
Knowing you got just a few weeks left here before life begins again, and you were telling me off air before getting set up, you're filled to the brim here basically between now and the middle of next month before you got to get back to Tampa.
Oh, yeah, we're just at the age, we got weddings every weekend, everyone's getting married, so we got a little bit of time during the weeks, but weekends are pretty much booked.
You mentioned Logan McCormick's one is coming up.
Yep.
Now he's coaching at South Dakota State. Did you guys give him some grief over that?
We've been giving him grief ever since he took the job. I'm obviously happy for him.
Yes.
It's a great job, and it's so cool to see kind of the way, you know, where he's kind of bounced around. Finally, you know,
this is two rival schools. He was at James Madison, now he's at Jack.
What's he doing? I know. But no, we're happy for him. Like, he's going to kill it, and yeah, we have, you know, good banter about it, but we're happy for him. I mean, he's going to be a great coach for however long he wants to do it.
For people, Cody, that see obviously play now, can you dive into what the off season is like? You know, obviously you guys were done mid-January. You got to come back, and we talked about that. You were in Minot to see Carter coach at the state basketball tournament, which was fantastic. But how much actual free time does an NFL player have?
In the off season, you know, it's especially coming from college. You know, your longest break you get in college is maybe 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So to be done in mid-January, and you know, you don't have to report until mid-April. It's kind of like, what do I do with all this time? So you have to really be a pro, I think, and be on top of your you know, if you're not going to be in Tampa or something, you have to find places to train. You have to make sure you're on top of that. So as nice as it is to have all this free time, you can't really let it be all that much free time. You know, you still have to be working, still have to be going at it. So but it's nice to get a little bit of time off after a long season.
So you're still working out a little bit back home here then?
Yeah. You know, we just got done a couple weeks ago, but season's you know, really a month away. We're a month away from report date, so can't really take too much time off. Gotta, you know, especially with all these weddings, gotta try to stay active during the week.
Does that mean much? Did you do much dancing this past weekend?
Oh gosh, that dance floor was was packed all night. I was more sore after that than some games, I think.
Couple minutes left, and I really appreciate you doing this today and having us down. This is fantastic. The impact that what you've done now for 2 years, obviously you've got, and Coach Moneylaw sent me, you got a billboard up in Hankinson now. You got a couple commercials you're doing in Tampa. If I would have told you that 3 years ago, would you believe me that this would have happened?
No, I think that's it's just crazy. I think, especially that whole billboard thing. You know, it's like, it's cool, but like it's a little embarrassing to kind of drive into Hankinson and see the billboard. But I remember I was going into Oaks and seeing the Phil Hansen billboard he's got. Like, I always thought that was the coolest thing ever. But when it's yourself up there, it's a little bit like, this is just weird. But it's so cool. Yeah, like you said, 3 years ago, if you would have said, you know, any of this stuff was going on, I'd be like, you're lying. Like, it's been a crazy couple years.
Impact today. What do you hope that a kid leaves here, that they get a chance to come here and participate today?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, you know, they're young kids. It's 3rd through 8th graders, especially for the younger kids. I'm just hoping that they start to just find a love for the little things, like I said earlier, just kind of being outside, but also just something as awesome as organized sports. You know, this is kind of for a 3rd grader. You know, you don't really do any organized football or anything like that. So hopefully they can just, if not learn anything, at least just have a good time being out here, realizing the camaraderie that you can have while playing football. Like, it's really the best sport to you know, be a teammate, be a friend, and just kind of build the relationships, I would say, because it's, you know, when you get to, for us, 9-man, but when you get to 11-man football, it's 11 guys working as one. Yeah. So it's a pretty cool sport, and I really hope the kids can see that.
By the way, just before we go, another 9-man stud is coming to NDSU. That has continued to happen. That Cordell was one, yourself was one, Tanner Volson was one. We can go back away. Carson Schuning was one. Describe that, about that lineage of making sure that the standout North Dakota 9-man guys are going to play at NDSU.
I think it's so cool. I mean, some people might say it's a little bit under-recruited, but I think it's perfectly recruited for North Dakota, because NDSU seems to be the ones who are getting all these, you know, standout 9-man guys. And I think the craziest thing, too, is how well it works out for 9-man guys. You know, football is football. We always say that. And it's so cool to see guys come from, not the biggest schools,
Yeah.
and in some cases the smallest schools, like, Drake. Like, how many people are in Drake? Cordell probably had 10 kids in his class. Like, literally some of the smallest towns in the state, and they produce some of the best athletes in the state. So it's really cool.
Last thing, who designed the shirts here? Were you part of this?
I had my agency did this.
Okay.
I have, her name's Braden. She kind of coordinates the camp. She designed it.
Fantastic.
No, it's great. She absolutely kills it.
The how about the creamsicle? Is that a popular jersey that people want? The Cody Mauch 69 jersey down there?
Seems like everyone loves a creamsicle. I don't know why. It's the creamsicle.
You're going to wear them more this year, is what I heard.
I think so, yeah. So, no, they are definitely really cool jerseys, and I've gotten to wear them twice now. So I like them. I think they're pretty sweet.
So great to see you, man. Thanks for hosting us today.
Yes,
have a great
you.
time, and congratulations on the
you.
wedding, and looking forward to seeing you back on the field this year, all right?
Thanks, Tom.
Cody Mauch joining us from Hankinson, North Dakota. His camp getting ready to roll here in about 40 minutes. What a way to get our show started. We'll take our first break. We got plenty more coming up here, live from Wahpeton at Cody Mauch's football camp. We're back on Hot Mike on WDAY Extra right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Hot Mike live on location here in Wahpeton, getting ready for Cody Mauch's second annual football camp. Gets going at the top of the hour. About 250 kids will be here for the first session. Another 250 coming up later today. The man in charge, we thought we had the man in charge first. We got the real man in charge. Is Joe Mauch, Cody's dad. It's great to see you, bud. How you been?
Real good, real good.
Father of the groom, how'd everything go on Saturday?
It was good. It was a real fun night, and a lot of people, and it was nice to see you.
Emphasis on a lot of people,
That's
right?
Yeah.
Well, Cody told me about 100 people said no, which you were probably okay with, right?
Right. Yeah.
Describe that of knowing this was all compacted. Obviously, wedding coming, this was happening today.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff happening.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. It seems like when he comes home, he's running and doing this, and I think he was saying he's home for 5 weekends and he's got 4 weddings or something. He's at that age where it is and it's good. I mean, he can come home and he can spend some time and see some people he hasn't seen for a while.
Tell me about the experience last year. You and I visited before things got going down here almost a year ago to the day. What you took away from that about how big of an experience, how great of an experience this was?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's nice to see this many kids come out. I mean, and you hate to draw a line, but how do you draw a line? I mean, again, it sold out pretty fast.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you want to let as many people in, but you got to be able to manage it a little bit too. So, yeah, no, I think it's good. I think it's neat. I know he's got a couple buddies coming and to help out, so that's nice. And yeah, no, it's real good.
How much were you pulled in like 8 different directions last year?
Actually, it wasn't so bad.
Okay.
To start with, it was, but then I sat down and I was keeping track of the 40s, and that was pretty easy then. So that was a nice little.
What's your duties today?
I haven't heard. I'm hoping that same
that
job.
you want to do that one again? When he told you, hey, I want to do this, Dad, what was your reaction to that? Hey, I want to hold my own camp.
I expected it.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to say that I knew he was going to do something like that, and I think part of the best part about it is that he's keeping it free to everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, you could charge a little entry fee, but some kids don't. Some kids can't.
Yeah.
So it's good to do that, and he's got enough sponsors and this and that, and it worked out good.
Where did you hear from people that came from? I heard it wasn't just southeastern North Dakota, obviously Minnesota from last year.
Yeah.
What was the furthest away that you heard, if you remember?
I heard from the cities probably.
No kidding.
This and that.
Wow.
And, some of that, and it's pretty special.
He mentioned to me about going to Phil Hansen's camp over at NDSCS. Do you remember? Because he said it lingers for him. That was an important memory.
Yep. And I would have think he would have been in grade school at
that
time. Yeah.
Is there anything he took out of that you remember that he said, Dad, this was really cool? I wanted to do that.
I don't.
Yeah.
I guess, but he went to a number of camps too. So I mean, it was. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Yeah.
2 years.
Sure is nice though that they. Kids not kids anymore. Guys do that,
I was mentioning with him now, 3 years removed from. He's got a billboard up in Hankinson now. He's got commercials he's doing in Tampa. I mean, we talked at the start of his senior year at NDSU about what potential could happen. I mean, if I would have told you this 3 years ago, would you believe me?
No. And we always laugh, and I still always remember, he just walked down in NDSU, and, he said, Dad, I want to be a part of it. If I get a play, I play. If I don't, I don't. And, well, that attitude, I think, is where it got him,
To have the impact he's had, the fact he hasn't missed a snap in 2 years in the NFL, what does that, as a dad, what does that mean to you?
That's crazy. That's just, it's just longevity. I mean, how does that happen,
You've been all over the United States. What has this been like for you to travel, you and your wife, to get over and see this?
Yeah, it's been really nice. I mean, just seeing different spots, and it's nice looking at, different stadiums and some of that, and that's, and it's really neat. I always like after the games when they meet in the middle, and, it's kind of, I don't know who he knows, and he's always, visiting with people. And it's neat seeing that. Obviously U.S. Bank Stadium was a pretty special one to start for his first game against the Vikings. But is there one that stood out like, holy cow, I can't believe I'm here watching my son play an NFL game? I would say the U.S. Bank Stadium. Okay. I also would say the first home game against Tampa. Yeah. I mean, looking back now, I don't even remember who he played the first home game, but the experience was there, and I don't know. There's nothing like a home game. Yeah. I mean, it just is nice. For people that haven't been, Devils, what is football experience like in Tampa? It's really how nice. Crazy are they for the Bucs? Tailgating's really nice. Okay. It's outdoor stadium. Yep. The first couple games of the year are pretty hot, but after that, it's pretty nice. Those 1 p.m. kickoffs are rough, huh? Yeah, they need to move them to 7 or 8 o'clock, at least for the first month or so. They're normally pretty good, so they've been playing plenty of night games as well. I know they played Kansas City. Did you get a chance to go to Kansas? What was that experience like? Neat. That was really neat. Yeah. That was a good tailgating atmosphere. That was, that was a good people. Yeah. You get to some teams and the fans aren't all that great, and it only takes one fan to do that, though. Yeah. You can't hold it to it. But. Did you get a chance to go to the playoff game? Yeah. What was that? I mean, obviously not the result you wanted, but what was that experience going right down to the wire with Washington? Yeah, I mean, that was a tough one, especially knowing we played them earlier and we beat them. But I mean, I don't know, could have went either way. I mean, that's the nature of the beast, I guess. I know. I think I asked you this before the whole experience of the draft get started. Now here you are, a couple years removed. What is it like to see somebody wearing 69, the Mauk jersey, that is no relation, that's wearing your son's jersey? We're always you always point that out when you're at a game, just seeing, oh, there's one, and it's just it's really special, really neat, and even people coming up to us afterwards. I was going to ask you that. And, well, actually, they come up to Mom and Dad because they got Grandpa and Grandma Mauk on the back of their jerseys, so they find them. Well, I think I saw something on Twitter. A guy came up to you and was chatting with you and found out it was Cody's dad. Like, what's that experience like? Yeah, it's always, I mean, you just sit up. First off, I can't believe they didn't recognize they can't see the resemblance, but anyway. Yeah. No, I don't know. You just sit here chatting, and then somehow, I don't even know. Somehow, I don't usually say it, but I mean, it just comes up. I don't know. Have you had a chance to go to any Bison games since, or you've been on the road? We went to one game on his bye week last week. And that was neat because there's still a lot of parents that were there that were playing when he played, so it was nice to see them again and that. So a couple minutes left here with Joe Mauk. We talked to Carter right before Hankinson went to state. What was that experience like for Hankinson to send a team back to the state basketball tournament? Yeah, that was really nice. It's been a while, and I don't know. I like that 3-class system. Yeah, it's Class B basketball again. It seems like. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it was neat. And well, and then Carter was the coach, so that was a little more special, So, yeah. I can remember at Cody's draft party, Carter had just got the job. We were talking about that of him taking over, and now to do this 2 years later to get a team to the state, that had to be just over the moon for you guys. Yeah, it was. I mean, that's what more can you expect? That's just getting there. That's the thing, and then you get there, and well, okay, we're not just here. Let's go for it. You know what I mean? I mean, it's kind of 2 goals in separate. And then, of course, the big man shows up, and he's like the biggest thing in town, literally in Minot. What was that like to see him get he wanted to talk to everybody like always, but what was that like to see how he reacted to people in Minot? No, that was good. That was good. And, he's good with kids. He's good with that. He'll always take the time and do that. Some people don't, but he's always, he was good. He likes it, I think, and
This I really appreciate the time before I let you go. This is the new normal. You're being in the spotlight, not totally, but you get. I'm sure. Have you got more of these? Have you got interviews? And how's that gone?
All right, it's fine with it. I mean, a lot of it's the same talk, same questions and all that. But no, it's good.
How has life adjusted now that my son is an NFL starting player, 2 years in? How much has life changed for you guys?
It's probably the weekends going to the games.
Yeah.
I mean, we farm, so we're still here farming, and we got to make a living and this and that. And so, I mean, that part of it, hasn't changed. Yeah. It's just, and then when he does come home, he gets a lot of attention, or he likes going to the kids' games, So, I mean, but no, he's
still putting to work on the farm?
No, well, he comes home and he's gone all the time. Can't get nothing out of him. Yeah.
That's because you got everybody's wedding he's got to go to, right? Yeah. It's so great to see you, bud. Thanks so much for coming by, and enjoy your summer, okay?
All right, sounds good.
Joe Mauch joining us, Cody and Carter's dad here, as we're live on location in Waupun. And we'll take a break. We got some more guests coming. We got some NFL guys here as well. Hopefully we'll be able to track a couple of them down. We're back on Hot Mic live in Waupun right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Hot Mic live on location in Waupun. Cody Mauch's second annual football camp going to get going here in about a half hour. Kids are already filling up. Got plenty of volunteers. Going to be a great day. Weather is fantastic. We mentioned we brought out some of the big guns, or at least Cody did, to help out the camp today. They don't get much bigger than the guy next to me. It's great to see Ada, Minnesota's Mason Miller join us here now of the Detroit Lions. How's that sound now when I say that?
It's definitely a lot different than North Dakota State Bison, but it's a good feeling. So
we have not talked since everything went down. So we talked prior to the draft. So give us the lowdown. Saturday comes and you take it from there.
Yeah. So Saturday happened. Was a lot of fun. Was on the phone all day. Then you get out there and it's rookie mini camp for 3 days, and just going through that was a lot of fun. And then OTAs, the whole process was really cool. Learned a lot. I mean, it's a completely different language than college football, but that whole learning process has been a ton of fun.
So let's go prior to getting out there. Was Detroit one of the teams that had talked to you or talked to your agent? Was that on the radar?
Yeah, Detroit was probably my number one spot before the whole thing happened. Just with Coach Roll being out there, to have that familiarity was really cool.
So. I know you had a bunch of family and friends over. What was that? How was that to balance that of, hey, I want to talk to people, and also, hey, the phone is going to ring?
Right. I kind of went in. We used my neighbor's shop, and I kind of went into a dark room and was there for basically the whole night.
Yeah.
And people came, had some food, and it was really cool to see the support. From the community for myself.
What was that reaction when you got off the phone to tell them it was going to be the Lions?
Well, I got off the phone and, the draft was still going on, so I didn't want to tell anybody. But, after that last pick was made, then, just the whole shop erupted. And, yeah, I mean, just that emotion that went through me was, I'll never probably experience something like that again.
So getting out there and to see T-Roll, what was that emotion like? Seeing a familiar face.
Yeah, we gave each other a big hug, and then it was back to business like usual. You can't get too emotional when those things happen, but, to have that and to have that comfort level with somebody like that I was with for 4 years is really special. And, you don't find that a lot in the NFL. Yeah. Coaches kind of coach, and then players do their thing. Where college is, you're intertwined a little bit more. You have more of a relationship with somebody, and hopefully – we can continue that, but we'll see what happens. So,
Coach Dan Campbell, we see him on the outward side of it. How much interaction, if any, of you had so far out there?
I'm trying to keep my interactions with him as minimal as possible. But he's exactly the guy that you see on TV.
Yeah.
He doesn't change who he is for anybody, and I think that's a testament to the culture that they're building and the people that they're bringing in.
So you went through rookie camp and OTAs, mini camp. What was that experience like, and just what are you trying to do here for those first 3 steps before training camp begins?
Right, I'm just trying to be sticky. Really, any way that I can get reps or find myself in a position to make the team, that's what I'm trying to do. So I've been taking center or snapping the football, something I've never had to do before, whether it's trying to learn a little bit of tight end. I mean, the playbook is very complex, so just trying to be sticky.
Being an undrafted guy, obviously there comes with it, there's, I don't know, nerves is the right way. You're trying to make a roster. How do you keep that out of your mind? It's like, you know what? Like you said, I just want to make make an impact that say, hey, the Miller kid, we want him on the 53-man roster?
Yeah, at the end of the day, football is football. So it's something I've been doing for the last 5 years in college football. So just trying to continue that, have that mindset that, the moment isn't really bigger than what it is. So just trying to continue to make an impact on the field, whether it's, oh, that was a really good block. Well, maybe you didn't have great hands, but the effort was there.
Yeah.
So just being a high-effort guy and continuing to just kind of do what I did in college.
Describe Cody asked you to come down here, and I know it was a slam dunk yes, but give me the interaction here when Cody asked you to be part of this today.
Yeah, it's a super cool opportunity. He said, he was obviously busy with some other things, but to have him ask us to do this, it's just truly special, and to give back to small town North Dakota.
To be able to impact this, was there a camp that you went to when you were a kid that gave you a lasting impact? Say, boy, that football may be something I want to give a try to.
There was never really football camps like this when I was growing up, but, I went to North Dakota State camp, and there was upperclassmen that I ended up playing with for a little bit that, I was a nobody, and he pulled me aside and just kind of gave me some pointers. And, I don't think you get that from a lot of places and a lot of people. So I just think that speaks to the character of the people that went to North Dakota State. Yeah. And, we wouldn't have camps like this or Cordell's going on without people like that.
Knowing NDSU's individual camp just ramped up, any memories come to mind of that when you went, and what kind of...
Yeah, I don't think I won a rep while I was there. I think they just saw a big, tall, long, skinny, athletic kid that could potentially work into something.
Mold into something?
Yeah, but I don't think I won a single rep.
Was confidence shot when you left there?
A little bit, but you hear good things from the coaches after that, and you're like, well, you never know. And then, you get to college, and then you get humbled a little bit when you get there. But everything, I think it's all worked out for the better. And
out of that, how long after, Mace, did you get offered? Like when you went to camp, and then when did you hear from NDSU?
Well, so I think I went going into my sophomore summer,
and
then I got offered my junior year during the basketball season, I think is what it was. So,
but going there was the big drive to obviously make whatever happen.
Well, football was never really on my radar until that happened. I always thought I was going to be a basketball player, and then, that happened, and I was like, for sure, football's not on my radar now. But then, Coach Hedberg started talking to me shortly thereafter that, and things blossom into what they are now.
What has you only have a few free weeks be home? What have you tried to do to after minicamp wrap to maximize your time home, but also get ready for training camp starting here in about a month?
Yeah, so I've worked out at NDSU. I've gotten to go in some of the lift groups with them, which has been really nice. It's a lot different lifting at college than it is in the NFL, but to enjoy some of my time, spend a little bit of time at the lake, trying to do as much fishing as I possibly can. So.
If you got an inside group of what are the next standout offensive linemen or be at NDSU, we got a couple guys that you give us. We're a month out from Bison Fall Camp getting going here.
I think obviously Griff and Trent, but there's a lot of competition between those younger guys, and a lot of those guys need to step up. So I don't have an inside track right now. I can't honestly tell you, but I'm excited to see a lot of growth between some individuals that got a little bit of time, didn't get any time, and these guys need to, step it up and flourish. So
there's, you've probably seen the photo I put out on social media of the offensive line of now each guy in the National Football League. What's that mean to you?
It's a really cool thing. I think a lot of it has to do with Coach Larson. Without him, I don't think a lot of us would be where we are. Just from how he coaches, his mindset, his knowledge of the game is impeccable. There's not a lot of guys that are as smart as him when it comes to football. And I think it's just a character. It's a testament to Coach Kramer and the character that he builds as well. Without those guys, I don't think any of us are where we're at.
To him now be calling the plays, the OC, how's that going to be? For Bison fans that might be nervous, like, okay, an offensive line coach is going to be the offensive coordinator. Tell us about what to expect maybe.
Like I said, I think he's the smartest football player or football coach I've ever been around. Wow. His mind for the game. He was doing a lot of that stuff behind the scenes too, helping out with a lot of the run game stuff for sure. So we'll see if it's a run-heavy offense or a pass-heavy offense, but time will tell that story.
Well, you guys got pretty good at pass blocking last year. Did you miss there wasn't necessarily the
little bit
ground? See, it's funny. I was looking at the stats. It ended up being you had the same amount of rushing touchdowns as passing touchdowns. I wouldn't.
Really?
I had the same reaction.
With
I would not have
Bryce
thought
having
that.
17,
I know.
I was like, oh, that'd be.
I did not expect that. So in the end, it was pretty balanced then,
exactly,
right?
Exactly.
So for Bison fans, they can't freak out too much. It's so great to see you, man.
Yep.
Thanks for making time for this. Have a great day today, and we'll catch up before the season gets going, all right?
Sounds good. Thank you, Dom.
Mason Miller from Ada, Minnesota, joining us now. The Detroit Lions going here with, I was going to say fall camp, with the training camp coming up here in about a month. We'll break. We got another segment here. I think we can get the first rounder to join us before camp gets going. Gray Zabel going to join us on the other side of the break. Back on Hot Mike on WDAY Extra right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Wrapping up our first hour of Hot Mike Live on location here in Wahpeton. Cody Mauch's second annual football camp about to get going here at the top of the hour. 2 different sessions going today. Another one coming up later this afternoon. We got a really cool guest here to wrap up our first hour. He is the newest Bison offensive lineman to be drafted. Boy, the fact we got to say that is pretty darn cool. It's so great to see Gray Zabel from Pierce, South Dakota, the 18th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft by the Seattle Seahawks. Last time we chatted, you were just North Dakota State offensive lineman. Now you're a Seattle Seahawk, man. Congratulations. What's that? How's that sound now? It's been a couple months.
Man, it still sounds surreal. Still got to wake up and kind of pinch yourself and be grateful for the position I'm in. And obviously, a lot of credit to be given out to a lot of people to get me to where I'm at today.
All right, so it seems like everything has gone viral that you've either said or done since the draft. What has that been like?
Yeah, you just really got to be careful what you say moving forward now. So I think they've gone viral in all the best ways.
Yes.
So knock on wood that trend continues. So.
All right, so give us the backstory. I know we chatted before the draft. Seattle was one of the teams certainly talking to you. So I know you couldn't have been really surprised when that came up. But still, when the phone call came from Mike McDonald and John Schneider, describe that emotion and what that was like. All right, here's Seattle on the board.
It was surreal. It was a really cool experience because, like, as you go through the entire process, like you said, you have no decision to where you go. So you just have to keep an open mind. And I remember telling my dad, like, at 6 o'clock before the draft, my dad's asking me questions as we're standing outside, and I was like, Dad, I have no idea. And he was like, okay, like what to expect, like all this. And for some reason, I wasn't very nervous throughout the day. I mean, we played golf in the morning, but I wasn't nervous throughout the day. And then as the draft kind of starts progressing and stuff, I want to say it was like 3 offensive linemen in the top 10 picks or something. I was like, okay, that's going to help out my chances a lot. And then the Cowboys took Tyler Booker, who was an unbelievable football player, and I was like, okay, there goes the 4th one. And so we're sitting downstairs in my basement. I still remember we're just watching the TV, and it says, like, the Bengals pick is in. And I was like, oh, I haven't got a phone call yet. So
it's not them.
No Bengals. Right? And then right as I think that, my phone starts ringing. And it's weird because everyone's kind of talking and stuff in the background, and nobody really, like, notices it. And I just, like, show my dad the phone number, and it was from Renton, Washington. And my dad was just like, you could just see his, like, eyes just light up. And so I answer a phone call and stuff, and then people kind of start realizing what's happening.
Quiet down.
Yeah. And it's so weird because you don't really notice it, but I think, like, the draft screen or, like, the television copy is a little bit behind.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Because it's like I got the phone call, we talked, all that stuff, and then, like, 2 or 3 minutes later is when it was actually, like, up on the screen and stuff. So what a surreal and neat experience, like, unbelievable.
The fact that you had everybody there, all the people closest to you that you wanted there, how did that add to the moment?
Man, it's just everybody that helped kind of get me to where I'm at. Like, my day one people just all being there to celebrate and wanting to celebrate me that day, where I should be celebrating them every single day because they helped me achieve that kind of goal, lifelong dream of mine. So what a cool experience. I mean, even Coach Larson and Coach Paul said got to come down and stuff. So
at the last, and they brought Jet with them as well. So they got there like the last, like around the 8th pick is what I think Coach P told me.
Yeah, that sounds about right. They came walking in, and Coach P immediately screams like "fire up!" And I'm like downstairs in the basement. I'm like, "Oh, Coach P got here!" Like, so
that's fantastic. We were over. Our Sam Getzinger was over at the community center hall, similar to what you experienced with Cody had his and then everybody came back the next night. So what was that experience like?
Yeah. So what a crazy deal. So we were thinking like, hey, should we do something Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday and stuff? And my agent was like, hey, just have a party Friday. Just kind of expect like to be a day 2 pick. And so my mom's like, so do you want to like be there or not? And I was like, at the moment, I'm like, no, I'm going to be way too nervous. Like, I can't have that many people around me. So I don't know how Cody did it. Like,
yeah.
And then it kind of, you start happening, and I wasn't very nervous. And I was like, oh, okay, like that's different and stuff. But then we get drafted, so we celebrate Thursday night. And I remember it was way too late. And I think we celebrated into Friday morning. And I remember waking up Friday morning, and they're like, the Seahawks are like, hey, we're going to fly you out, blah, blah. And I was like, hey, I don't mean to start off on the wrong foot, but if I'm not here for my draft party tonight, like, you guys won't have me because my mom's going to kill me. Like, she would be so furious that I missed the party as she planned for weeks and weeks and weeks. Like, okay, no worries, we'll have you come out Saturday.
That's awesome. And that's really good.
Yeah, it was super cool. And they're like, yeah, have fun, celebrate, like all that. And so then we're eating breakfast Friday morning. My dad's just sitting there, and he's like, man, we got to do this all over again.
Like it's a bad thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. But, man, what a time. And,
man.
Pure community, just unbelievable. They showed up. They supported me. It was awesome.
It seems like the fans of Seattle have embraced you. You've already went out. You threw the first pitch at a Mariners game. You got the old baseball traits back. How did that go?
I thought it went well. They had me warming up in a hallway, like underneath the stadium, and where my dad's like, what could possibly go wrong and stuff. Like, people walking by everywhere as I'm trying to like warm up. And then,
when's the last time you threw a baseball, honestly?
Probably last summer when I was playing for the Matador Monsters, the amateur team that Coach P had no idea about. With those guys, I'd come down and pitch and play third base for them. So that.
How often did you do that?
Whenever I could, I probably like 2 or 3 times.
That's
over
so
the summer.
good. That's fantastic. Okay, so you did. So you got out there on the mound, and then what's that emotion like?
Don't mess up.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sitting there and, like, it's the worst thing ever because you go walking out and you're like, oh, 6 feet, 6 inches. Like, that's not very far. And then you go walking out and it's just like you're a mile away. And there's thousands and thousands of fans there.
30,000 people there.
And I'm like, just get it close. Just get it close. And it's even worse because a buddy texted me and he was like, hey, don't miss. Like, don't miss your pitch tonight. You'll go, like, famous and stuff. And I was like, oh, boy, please, just get it close.
So now let's talk on the actual football stuff here. I know you got to get going. We got a couple minutes left with you. The rookie camp, mini camp, OTA. What was you haven't had maybe the welcome the NFL experience yet, but what was the first couple of drills like that go?
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, it's so good to have a kind of O-line room like we do out in Seattle. A lot of young guys, so they know kind of what you're struggling with, what questions you're going to have. So then they start helping you out with that. And then it's like they're telling me things that like, hey, by the way, like make sure you get extra rehab on Wednesday night because the Thursday practice is going to be a little tougher and stuff. So understanding things like that is super important. And then it went well. Like, we had a great time. OTAs went really well. We had, like, I want to say, like, perfect attendance amongst the entire team. And so a lot of guys were happy about that. And then, I mean, I kind of had a welcome to the NFL moment when Leonard Williams is right across from me. And he, like, knows what play we're running before we even run the play. And I'm just like, okay, that's not fair. He's year 11 and a really, really good football player. So... yeah. I remember just telling my dad that. I was like, I'm going to get better in practice this year by going up against these guys.
The fact you get out there and you see Jalen Sundell, I mean, that's got to be surreal.
Yeah. The first day we were out there, he came to a facility and stuff and gave me a big hug. So I was like, okay, like I'm right at home.
Yeah.
Like, really good buddy. So
the fact that you obviously played next to him for quite a few games as well, it's got to feel pretty good. Obviously, he's fighting for a spot as well, but you guys are right in the same boat again like you were about 4 or 5 years ago.
Exactly. And he's unbelievable teammate, unbelievable person. I don't know if he's getting sick of me yet with how many questions I'm asking, and like he just has an answer every single time, which is awesome. And then a few questions, he's like, I'm not sure about that. You're gonna have to ask somebody else. I was like, all right, sounds good.
So I was following this. The schedule came out, and the Buccaneers are going to the Seahawks. So okay? So obviously the trash talking has begun then.
Yeah. And the worst part is all of Cody's teammates like came out for his wedding this past weekend.
Yeah.
And so I'm getting to introduce all of them and stuff. And then Cody, every single time, he's like, this is Gray. We're going to beat him October 5th. And I was like, all right, come on. Like, we're already bringing the smack talk in as I'm meeting your teammates.
That's fantastic. What do you think that's going to be like, though, man? Just there's going to be so many surreal and moments this year, but that one's got to stick out for you, I have to imagine.
It's going to be awesome. I mean, just the amount of family and friends from both sides, me and Cody, coming out for that game is going to be like, I got to feel like the Midwest is going to be well represented and Lumen Field that day because of the Malk family's obviously going to travel well. All of Cody's fans going to travel well.
The Zabel family's going to travel well.
The Zabels are coming too because it's like my parents like want to see Joe and Stacy and all those guys.
Yep.
So, it's going to be a fun game.
Now, you got to ask, with everything that's happened here, has there been a moment where you just be able to sit down and just contemplate, wow, this all has happened in the last 2 months?
Yeah.
Have you had time to do that yet?
Yeah, I would say the plane ride back this past Friday for Cody's wedding, I sat on that plane and I was just sitting there thinking, like, wow, like what a surreal, like, past 2 months this has been. Like, everything you could have possibly dreamed of is, like, coming to fruition. Like, and you don't really get a lot of time because it's just, like, you're going, like, nonstop. And I would say, like, that plane ride back where it's like, hey, I get a break. I get to be back in the Midwest. I get to see all my buddies. Like, and then you start realizing, like, how truly blessed you are to be, one, in an opportunity, and then two, to have unbelievable people around you. I mean, like, it's just one of one, and it's a surreal moment. And you get to catch up with so many people. And I feel like 3 weeks isn't long enough because you see somebody every single day.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, my God, I haven't seen them in forever. And then next day you're like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you in forever. And so like you just keep on talking. It's like the more people you run into, the more you realize, like, holy cow, this is pretty awesome.
A couple minutes left here with Gray. Then 2 days after you get drafted, QB1 goes to the Raiders. What was that? I know you were in the midst of doing your stuff in Seattle. Do you have a chance to communicate with Cam after he got picked?
Yep. So I witnessed Cam get picked on the TV because we're in the cafeteria eating.
So you saw Tommy Malott get picked.
So I see Tommy Malott get picked. And I remember, like, we're sitting there eating. I remember telling my dad, and I was like, Tommy Malott just got picked before Cam, like all this. And then it's like Raiders and then a pick, and then the Raiders pick again. And then as we're sitting there eating and stuff, and I'm just kind of thinking, like, Cam's got to get a call soon. And then it's like, Cam Miller from North Dakota State. And I looked up there, and it's the Raiders. And I was like, oh, my God. Cam just got picked. Like, I immediately start texting him and stuff, all this, and I was so fired up, and I know he's going to take that opportunity and run with it. That's just the type of human being he is.
The fact that Tom Brady knew about him, I mean, what does that mean?
That's sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, as he should. I mean, he should get his flowers and then some because Cam is an unbelievable person, player, competitor. I know he's going to succeed wherever he's at, and I thought the Vegas pick was awesome for him.
A couple minutes left here. When Cody asked you to be part of this, tell me your reaction of wanting to be bound here today.
Yes. When do I got to show up?
Yeah.
What paperwork do I got to sign to allow me to do this? And he was like, you don't need paperwork. I'll just get you a T-shirt and stuff. Like, I appreciate it. I was like, yeah, 100%, because just to be able to give back to the community, to the Midwest, to North Dakota, like, sign me up.
Was there a camp you went to as a kid that left an impact? Like, you know, Cody was mentioning he went to one with Phil Hansen's camp when he was a kid. Like, oh, this stuck. Was there anything like that you had a memory, like with football or with any kind of sport that I want to follow that path?
Gosh, I would just say, like, every single year that we had this Little Govs camp. It's a basketball camp, and I just remember, like, Michael Tweet was there.
Oh man, there you go.
Yeah. And played. So I just remember going to camps like that, just growing up, and then seeing those guys go on and play Division I sports, and it's like, that's really cool. And then to kind of do this. So, I mean, I love being down here. Cody's and Cordell's, it's like I should have a notepad, because taking notes about, like, hey, because obviously I want to be able to do something like this in the future, and so take notes like, hey, this worked really well. Be prepared for this, like just moving forward. So I should definitely be taking notes while being here.
The Zabel name is going to keep going. How's Jet giving us an insight, for Jet for me to get on the field this year and maybe make an impact with the 2025 Bison?
Yeah, I took him to Texas Roadhouse last night with the Zen brothers, and I was forcing food into his body because he's got to gain weight. But
what's he at right now?
I want to say like high 220s, low 230s and stuff. So I was like, start eating. Like, you think you're going to be big enough, and then you're going to run a slant or try and block a DN, and you're going to feel like a paperweight, because I've been there before. I was like, just keep eating.
The last thing, I mentioned this with Mason. I know you've seen the photo I put out with the entire offensive line now with you in it, Mason in it, all in the NFL. What's that mean to you?
Well, two things. One, what a offensive line coach we had the past few years with Coach Larson, and then two, just the culture at NDSU. I mean, I've been removed from NDSU for 6 months now, and it's like you don't appreciate what you have until it's gone. And I tell Coach P, I was golfing with him Sunday night, I was like, Coach P, like, it's different. Like, we go and I train with everybody and all this. What we have at NDSU is different, and if it's high school recruits, guys there right now, guys that graduated, like, you know what I'm talking about. But a lot of people out there don't. It's like, it's truly different. The brotherhood, the culture, the want to win, and the competition, the standard. And I'm so grateful to have went to NDSU, and then you see a picture like that, and then it just like, yep, now you can understand. Like, some of my best friends, I mean, I always say Cordell Volson was like an older brother to me. Tough love, but when he knew I needed to be picked up, he was right there lifting me up. So, and then Cody was the same exact way, and then obviously Jay Kubis is a guy that I'm just praying that we continue our friendship for the rest of my life. But at the same time, like, every single time we see each other, it's an unbelievable time. So it's like we're going to have to start being smarter as we get older. But no, it's super cool, and I know there's going to be more pictures like that moving forward. Even if it's our wide receivers out there or QBs, it's just it's the program NDSU is building is something that's truly remarkable.
It's great to see you, man. I know you got to get going. Thanks so much for the time. Congratulations, all right, bud? Be well. We'll talk soon, all right?
Appreciate it. Thanks for
having me.
Ray
Zabel now, the Seattle Seahawks, joining us here. We're way overdue for a break, so we'll get caught up here. Second hour coming up. We're back live in Wahpeton after this.
This is Hot Mike. Hot Mike. On the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Welcome back, everybody. Live here in Wahpeton. Opening of Cody Mauch's second annual football camp. First session going on here for 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. Just getting started. Later today, they'll have their second session going on this afternoon. Great to be back with Hankinson head football coach Jason Moneylaws. It's great to see you, my man. This is the second year we were down here last year. I was chatting with you about it, about what this could be, and now here you are. It's 2 separate sessions, 500 kids. You got to be just pleased as punch about that.
Yeah, that was one thing that we talked about. When we were putting this together, and of course, last year we talked about making it bigger and trying to do what we're doing now, having 2 sessions, and so it worked out. And I was talking to Braden right away when we got here, and she said that it worked out pretty good because they got a lot of sponsorships, which is important.
It's a free event here,
right? You're not charging the kids, and that was the one thing Todd and I were really adamant about, is not having to have these kids pay to do this.
He mentioned earlier, Money, about going to Phil Hansen's camp when he was a kid over at NDSCS. That was a lasting impact. What do you think? You teach kids every day what this can mean, even for these kids behind us, that to go to this, that this can be something that lasts a lifetime with them.
Well, absolutely. You've got NFL players here.
Yeah.
It's not it's not Gilby, it's not me, it's not the high school coaches doing it. You got professional athletes out here. You have the football kids from Hankinson and Breck and Wahpeton helping with it. So this is good, and the numbers are awesome, and you can go and walk up to Tud, or you can go walk up to any of these other, Gray or whoever you want, and they're going to talk to you. They'll sign whatever you want. So no, that's awesome.
The wedding was this last weekend. I know you were invited. Tell me how the nuptials were on Saturday.
It was good. The wedding,
who wasn't invited? I guess in southeastern North Dakota. I'd like to know.
I don't. Well, okay. Let's just talk about the Malk family.
Yeah, right.
So everybody was seated, had a seating according to last name, and so the Malk one was. I didn't even bother to count it because it was Malk all the way down, because it's a huge family. The wedding was beautiful. The church, oh my Lord, it's something you'd see in Europe. Beautiful, just beautiful. It was short, which I like short weddings. I'm Catholic, and when I got married, I said, well, we're not going to have the mass and all that. We're just going to get married.
In and out, right?
Yeah. So no, it was beautiful, and then there was a social hour after that, and everybody's kind of mingling around doing that, and then we were seated, and it was good.
The fact that, he's up against it here. He told me he's got like 4 other weddings. And he's doing this 3 days after he got married. How big a deal is that? That he could go on his honeymoon. He didn't have to do this.
It just tells you what Tud's like. He understands it. He understands that what his position is as a professional athlete and within the community. Hankinson's such a tight community, and we've talked about this before. And with him doing this the way he's doing it, just shows that he wants to give back to these communities and maybe spark something in with these kids to pursue dreams or work hard and do different things, and you never know what can happen in your adult life.
All right, so what are you in charge of today? What are you doing out here?
Well, they're going to have me time.
Okay.
I guess, and I'm probably the wrong guy, because if I don't have my readers on, I can't read the stopwatch. so I don't know if I'll actually hold a stopwatch or not.
So we could have a kid run a 4.5, but you
maybe a 4.2 sub 3. I don't know.
I had to ask, because we texted right before Hankinson went to Minot to make it to the State B, how big a deal that was, and obviously with Carter being the head coach. And we talked at Cody's party that Carter was just named the new boys basketball head coach when Cody was about to get drafted. To have that happen, how big a deal was that for Hankinson?
Oh, geez, it was 18 years.
Yeah.
And in the region we played in, this.
Oh, yeah.
With Oak Grove, Castleton,
Kindred,
and Northern Cass.
Yeah. And when did it happen?
And we've gotten into the regional tournament over the years, and a few years back here when Mike Gochter was still coaching, and Tud was still playing, we had a pretty good team.
Yep.
And we ended up losing out to Northern Cass in a tight game, and of course Northern Cass went on to go to state that year, and that's the closest we've gotten in a while, and with the realignment of everything, I tell you what, the last winter, it was just so fun, and it wasn't just because the winning of the basketball games. It was nice to see people
come to the games. Mm-hmm.
Instead of just parents and a few of us that like to support the kids. It was that we had a good following to away games, no matter where we were going. Had a very difficult schedule, and I know this one coming up again is going to be a pretty difficult schedule, but that's what Carter wants, and so the boys will be challenged again, and obviously we'll probably be, us and Oaks will probably be the top 2 in our region, if I had to look at it and say that's how to start the season. But it was we had a lot of fans up there. A lot of fans. I know there was a big demand for the tickets. As always, okay. So this electronic thing that activities went to get these tickets.
Yep.
Well, Benson and Chad and Sarah were getting these phone calls about, hey, I want a hotel room and 2 tickets, and they kept telling us we don't do that anymore.
Doesn't work.
It doesn't work that now. Because last time we went 18 years
Yeah,
ago,
that's
that's
how
how
it
it was. You know, we divvied it out to the basketball players' families, the coaches, and then opened it to the staff. And then
not anymore.
So they're taking phone calls. Why? I need a room, and I need 2 tickets, or I need 4 tickets.
Nope. Well, it's a good problem to have, I guess,
It is.
right? The fact that Cody made it back, too, and I talked with Carter that, hey, Cody's going to come, and knew full well it wasn't just going to be the Hankinson fans who were going to flock to him. Everybody did. What was that like to see that out in Minot?
Oh, I wasn't surprised one bit.
Yeah.
I wasn't. I knew he'd be there, or unless there was something else.
If all possible, he's going to make it.
It's just, and he was pretty popular.
Yes. Yeah.
There was a lot of people coming up to him, and hey, is that Cody Mauch down there? Yeah, that's Cody.
Who else would he be?
I know
he can't be mistaken for, right?
You cannot mistake him at all, especially if he smiles. Everybody's gonna know. Oh, there's Todd.
That was, I thought, I know Sam interviewed him during the State B basketball tournament, and it was just it tells you again how important his hometown is to him. He's now 2 years into the National Football League, and heck, what is he? 8 years removed from graduating from Hankinson, how still a tight it has on him, regardless of his brother being the head basketball coach.
Right, yeah. One story about State. There was the first night we were there, the first day, and we're playing our game, and I'm like, who the heck is that guy sitting over there in all this Tampa Bay stuff? You know, he had a hat on, he had a jersey, he had Tud's jersey on and all this. Don't know the guy from Joe.
Yeah.
And he's, every game he came to, he was dressed as a Buccaneer fan. Never introduced myself. I don't know who he was, but he was truly a super fan of Tud.
Well,
every game. He had the same seat right down in the front row.
No kidding. All right, we're putting a PSA out to find out who this was then, all right?
I don't know who it was.
Well, I was talking with his dad about this earlier on the show, and I'm sure it is for you as well, that it's got to be, and you've been to some games, to be surreal to see someone wear a Buccaneers jersey, 69, and Mauch on the back. What's that, when you see that, what goes through your mind, man?
It's kind of like a warm inside feeling, you know, a bit of pride that I don't know how much influence I had on him as a football coach and how he turned out and how he works. You know, his work ethic came from his family. We've talked about that. But I feel like I had a little part in it, but probably not as much as NDSU. And obviously NDSU really is to give credit to why he is where he is.
You had something to do with it. Don't diminish that. You got it started out there.
I do, but I'm a pretty humble guy about that.
Do we have time to talk about what's coming up for high school football this year? How do you feel about it and where we're at for 2025 or what? I don't want to get your blood boiling here. We're in the summer.
We can visit a little bit.
Well, first talk about the Hankinson Pirates for 2025. What do we got coming up this fall?
Well, I feel right now that we're going to be pretty competitive in our region.
Yep.
It's going to be a difficult region. You've got Lemoore.
Yeah, LLM's still out there, the behemoth that they are.
Yeah, well, Gunnar Thiel is
he's all right, huh?
I think he could start for any NAIA school right now.
Well, and he's going to North Dakota State, so we got another 9-man guy that's going to go that route.
And we're at the state track meet and watching him sprint. I'm just like, oh my Lord, how are we going to stop him? What are we going to do?
Well, it's not. That's not game one for you guys. So you got a little bit of time, right?
No, but yeah. So they have to be the favorite.
Okay.
I think they have to be the favorite to come out of the East again.
Okay.
I really do, just because of what he's going to bring back. I mean, he lost some dudes, and he lost some dudes, but he does a good job out there with their summer workouts and stuff, and they're going to be pretty solid.
I was going to ask you about the playoff format change after what we saw last year, because we were on the show.
Yeah.
You talked to me about that. I didn't like it. I know certainly you didn't, because you were playing a team 2 weeks after you just saw them.
Yeah.
That's been changed. I think for this coming year, right?
Yeah, that's changed.
How much feedback do you think came back to the high school association?
I think they got a truckload.
Yeah.
To say it politely.
Yeah.
Because I let everybody know that how I was disgusted with it. I mean, you shouldn't have to play within your region for playoffs.
If it's a statewide tournament, what are we doing?
Make it statewide.
Right?
And okay, so their reason is going to be travel and other things like this.
Football. You play once a week.
Come on.
Right? How often do we have to have this discussion?
It's like beating a dead horse.
Yeah, it really is.
It is when you talk about travel with football. If it's basketball and volleyball, it's during the week.
We can have that discussion. I'll have that one. Not with football. Yeah. I'm not going to do that. It's 1 day a week.
One day a week.
I am interested to ask you about now 3-class volleyball coming in, and do you think that could have the same kind of success for your school that basketball did?
It's going to be huge. It really is.
Yeah.
And if you talk to the smaller schools, the ADs and administrators, they'll say the same thing. Yes, it's something that needed to happen, and I know Tara's pretty excited about it as well.
So the outcome to me would be like, why did we wait so long, right, on 3-class? That to me, because I think you and I have talked about that quite a bit.
Absolutely.
That, okay, it took till 2023 for us to finally get on board with it. Why did we wait so long to make this happen?
I have no idea, unless it was the powers of the bigger schools keep wanting to keep it the way it was, which is my feeling.
I am intrigued, though, to see basketball didn't happen this year with the points. That's something I know. It's a whole other topic. We could spend 2 hours discussing on how that works because nobody moved up this year. So I'm interested to see if how do we make that better? Because I think once you graduate, like if you lost 7 studs, you're not going to be as good the following year. How do we make that better rather than penalize a team for being really good, like Devils Lake for a couple years, and then force them up, but they don't have the same team that they had for the last couple of years? I don't know how to fix that one.
No, and I don't. I guess I'm a diehard that if this is where they put you, you play there, number one, okay? But you have to look at for us, the smaller schools, when we have extreme cycles. The bigger schools don't have the extreme cycle. They might go 2 years, 3 years at the most, but they're always going to have that number come through. And should Devils Lake play a level up? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the rules and we know we're going to have this pause right now with moving teams up. Okay, so if we get at the end of this and we're still looking at it the way it was this past year, and they're not going to do anything with it, we're going to have a problem in the state.
Yeah, I agree with that. Before I let you go, do you have your travel plans mapped out to go follow Cody this year? Or not?
No, I won't get to any games.
No,
not this year.
No, there's a couple. There's Seattle. You can go out there.
Well, I've already been asked about that one, and because I'm a Seahawk fan, and with Greg on there, it's pretty cool. But no,
did you make any less past year?
No.
Oh, you got to get out. Come on, he can make it happen. You're a high school coach. Come on now.
I know.
Huh?
It's just I get so busy with helping with basketball and everything else. And
you're a busy man. Cole Payton taking over for the Bison. What do you make for the 2025 Bison this upcoming fall before I let you go?
I think they're the team to beat, hands down.
Yeah.
I don't care what any other team has until they get beat.
Yeah.
In the playoffs.
Yep. Yeah. They were pretty darn good. So great to see you, man. Thanks so much for your time. I know you got to get back out there. We'll talk before football season, all right?
Yeah, I'll enjoy that.
Jason Moneylaw is joining us, Hankinson head football coach, helping out down here at Cody Mauch's camp. We'll take a break. We come back. We're trying to get back on time. We've been busy here with some great guests. Back on WDAY Extra right after this. Back here live in Wahpeton, you're going to look at the second annual Cody Mauch football camp going on. Just got started at about 10 o'clock. It'll go for a couple hours. They'll have lunch and then bring in the older kids. Grades 6 through 8 will come in here through the afternoon. As we mentioned earlier, about 500 kids here today, which is just a huge deal with the fact you got some NFL guys here, not just Cody, but you saw Mason Miller, Gray Zabel here as well. It's a huge deal for the community, and again, it's a free event. And for these kids to get a chance to be coached by those kind of players, that is some lasting memories they're going to have there. All right, we'll break. We'll get back on time. We come back. Wahpeton head football coach Wade Gilbertson will join us, the man who's hosting everything here today down in Wahpeton. Back on Hot Mic on WDAY Extra, KSFL, KMBN, and Inforum.com right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Holy cow, final half hour of the show. We've been flying down here at Cody Mauch's second annual football camp here just outside of Wahpeton High School. Man who's hosted everything today. Our next guest is Wahpeton head football coach Wade Gilbertson. Great to see you. So, second year in a row you're doing this.
Yes, sir.
You got some construction going on, so how much did that add to the challenge of and doing double session instead of just one like last year?
Yeah, I think it's the getting out, honestly, is going to be tough over here in that oval. It caused a little bit of a headache for everybody. As soon as I found out that we were going to be redoing that parking lot out there, I got a hold of Coach Money, and then he got a hold of Tud, and they kind of started the plan from there.
So how does this all work? Does Cody reach out to say, we'd like to come here? Give us the backstory of how Wahpeton ended up hosting this.
It was Coach Money, actually, that contacted me not this last winter, but the winter before, and floated the idea of doing this. Yeah. I know that Tud's agency was helping put this thing together as well. And I just told him, let me check with the powers that be at Wahpeton High School. Went to my superintendent, went to our athletic director, and talked to them about it. And, of course, they gave a big thumbs up immediately. Yeah. Got back to Coach Money, and the planning process started from there. And really, I'm just kind of the guy that goes for this, goes for that, and helps make sure we got enough tables and enough of these shade covers, stuff like that. They do most of the planning. So
the fact that you're able to host and get this many kids. I mean, last year I was out here seeing it. I talked with you about it. Like, this is huge. This could only get bigger. And now here we are. There's almost double the kids that are here this year.
Yeah, and it's great that they're splitting it into 2 sessions. Makes the day a tiny bit longer, but there's more breaks in between. And when you do that, it's obviously going to be a little bit more manageable, and it's only going to get better, obviously, from here. Hopefully we're having this for a great many years here in Wahpeton. It's fun to be able to host it.
What's the feedback in terms of local kids that came out, and how many of you heard from just southeastern North Dakota that wanted to come to here?
It sells out. I mean, how fast?
Yeah. It's in a half hour, he
right?
told me.
You post it on the internet, and the spots are taken like that. And I get probably more calls and messages from people that weren't able to get in.
Want to get in?
And
hey,
they want
help
to get
me out?
in. Yeah. And so it's a little frustrating there, but, I mean, you can't have 1,000 kids running around. You got to limit it somehow. You got to do something there. But, yeah, I mean, it's there's a lot of people that reach out and are very excited about this camp. They'll reach out to me and wonder if I'm doing a camp with our program, and I put them to this website, tell them all about this camp, because this kind of takes the place of what we would do. Yeah, absolutely. And obviously there's more kids that would show up for this than would show up for ours.
You have some of the members of your staff here that are helping out, and do you have any of your players that are helping out here today as well?
I do.
Nice.
I've got a handful of players and a couple members of the coaching staff that are here to help out, and so that I can kind of roam around, right? Be the head coach guy that does nothing.
The CEO, right?
Yeah, there you go.
That's the way it works.
There you go.
We chatted obviously during the season. A great year. Tell me about 2024 for Wahpeton football.
We had a great season on the back of a lot of senior leadership. I was a little bit worried that I didn't exactly know what we were going to get leadership-wise out of the senior class from last season, and we got everything that we needed and more out of our seniors. By about week 5, they kind of took over really the whole program and showed the younger guys how we do things here. And it was a bit of a change from the year previous to that, when we didn't make the playoffs and we finished 3-6, so we weren't great. And a lot of it had to do with our seniors, so I put a lot of it on them. Wasn't the plays that we called, it wasn't the scheme that we have, it was none of that. It was our kids showing up every single day and believing in what we stood for, believing in our principles. The one thing that stands out to me probably the most is we started the year against 2 of the top teams, I think, in the entire state of North Dakota. We played Kindred here at home, and then we go on the road and play Minot North. And we started off the year 0-2. And so we're staring down the barrel of another 7 games left to go, and our seniors didn't blink. They didn't flinch at all. And from that point forward, we finished the year in the semifinals, ended up a total 6-4. Or 6-5, excuse me. So overall, after those first 2 games, our kids just took off. Just a great season and fun to be a part of.
To have a winning season, Wade, how much does that help maybe to get numbers back where you want them, to get more kids out for football, to see guys had fun and there was success that was attached to it?
Yeah, and it is a big deal. We are trying to always build our numbers because Wahpeton's numbers are going down in a lot of different sports. And we felt the pinch in football here over the course of probably the last decade or so. So to have a group of athletes perform the way that they did last year and tell their friends in the hallways how much fun they're having and how cool it is, it does help get a lot of kids interested to come out.
I was going to talk to you. I know Wahpeton was part of asking to not move up in class for basketball as well. How Describe being on the inside of that, say, we're right where we need to be, to not move us. Can you describe that process of being on the inside of that?
Yeah, we've thought that we should stay where we're at for a number of years, and it's not us, it's more of some of the other bigger schools that probably need to be bumped up. But I think we're right where we need to be. There's been a little bit of discussion, mostly with my athletic director, about what the future does hold. Because if our numbers keep going the way that they're going, we're not the smallest school in our division.
You're not
going
to be a two-way school, though.
Right. But if our numbers go the way they're going, we're a two-way school, but we're pretending to be.
To be a two-way school, right.
We'll be a 1A school with our numbers.
Which I think is hard for people to, Wahpeton would be that small, but the numbers would dictate that if it goes where you're at.
Yeah, and everybody else keeps growing. Yes. I know Castleton is now bigger than we are, and you want to get into the administration part of it. You get into the free and reduced numbers and how many kids don't sign up for free and reduced that should be, that would mess with our numbers a little bit. So, and Wahpeton does have a decent population of free and reduced, so that does factor in a lot.
I mentioned, obviously, 2A football is going to look different this year with Kindred and Central Cass in there. I know you've played Kindred before, you've played Castleton before, but now that they're regular members of this division, how is that going to change things in your mind?
I think it's going to make our conference tougher.
Right? Yeah.
I looked at our conference last year and looked at our schedule, and I thought that we were running a gauntlet for schedule. We played everybody that was tough last year.
Minot North was really good.
Yeah.
Did you play Horace last year?
Played Horace as
Horace
well.
won the whole thing.
Right,
so.
And so I look at our schedule this year and think, okay, we're adding Central Cass and Kindred. It's going to be tougher.
And by the way, between those two schools, I believe they have 5 Division I football either recruits or commits that are between that. So that's only going to add to the challenge of what you have to face this year.
Absolutely is. And football is so much of a numbers game, and you know that we're going to have to go into this season and stay injury-free to be able to compete for those 4 playoff spots. Last year we were able to do that. This year, like I said, I think the mountain gets even higher to climb this year.
The level of talent, Wade, you've seen it. You've been around the game forever in this state. Why has it gotten so much better for high school football in North Dakota in your mind?
Good question. I think that there's more opportunities for kids to work out in Fargo. There's more opportunities for kids like this camp
like this happening here
today. Absolutely. There's just places. There's more expertise in the game, I believe, now today as well. And that's why I think that it's kind of taken off. I mean, you see a lot. I compare athletes 25 years ago to athletes now today, and I don't know if a lot has changed. It's just that they're working on their game a little bit more. Nobody's more athletic or stronger. They're just working on technique and working on their game a little bit.
For the kids here today to have 3 NFL guys out here, what's that mean to them?
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it's really neat.
That is unbelievable. It's an opportunity coming from a small town in Montana that I never had. But yeah, these kids come out and they see those guys, and the best part about it is they'll walk around and they'll go from station to station. Tud will get in and he'll run a 40 against the kids, or he'll play D-back against one of the receivers.
He promised me he was never running a 40 at the combine. He said he was done. No more 40s after that. Official 40s after that.
Right. Yeah, but that's fun to have them mingling around with the kids, and I'm sure it's tough to do though too, to try to get to every station and make contact with almost every single kid. It's really, really hard, but obviously that's what these kids want.
What are your goals or official jobs today? Do you have anything, or just, hey, I'm just CEO, anything you need, let me know?
Kind of anything you need, let me know. Yeah, like I said earlier, I'm kind of the gopher guy. I was here this morning trying to get things set up.
Got us set up, so I appreciate that, man.
There you go.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, and the logistics of the parking and the people and stuff was a little bit more challenging today, but yeah, it's fun.
Could this get bigger? Could this be a 2-day thing? If Cody wanted it to be, do you think there would be that much interest that this could get bigger?
No question. I think that they could add to it if they wish to.
Yeah.
And then there's always the possibility, we're putting in a new field over there at the stadium too. Who knows? Maybe we go across the street. Over at the stadium next year. Maybe we have it right here. I mean, this is a great setup to me. We've got obviously the parking that is required, and they could possibly make it a 2-day event. Absolutely.
It's great to see you, man. Thanks so so much for hosting us today and making this happen, all right? Appreciate it.
Appreciate
you.
Good
luck. We'll talk when the season gets closer, okay?
Let's do it.
Wade Gilbertson, head football coach in Wahpeton, joining us here today, hosting us for Cody Mauch's second annual football camp. We'll take our final break. We'll come back. We'll wrap things up and get you ready for a busy Sports Tuesday. Got another camp going on in Fargo tomorrow. We'll tell you about that when Hot Mike wraps on this Tuesday morning right after this. All right, wrapping things up here in Wahpeton. You see we're well underway in Cody Mauch's second annual football camp. These are 3rd to 5th graders. They're getting out here to work with the former Bison All-American. Just wrapped up year 2 in the National Football League. We went through the stat. If you missed our conversation with Cody, if you're late to the show, we had him on for the first 20 minutes. We'll podcast that later. We'll post our entire interview at Inforum.com. He was fantastic as always and went through the stats of what he's done on the field through the first couple years in the NFL, which has been dynamite. Hasn't missed a snap, hasn't missed a game as he gets ready for year 3. We also got a chance to visit with Mason Miller and Gray Zabel. All those conversations you can see coming up later today at Inforum.com. Just want to catch up on a couple things here before we wrap up. We'll be back in studio tomorrow. Easton Stick will have his football camp tomorrow up at NDSU. He will be in studio with us on Thursday. Looking forward to having the winningest quarterback in FCS history, now a member of the Atlanta Falcons. He'll be joining us on Thursday's show at 10:30. So looking forward to that coming up on Thursday later on. So we're packed with NFL guys apparently for the last week of June. The Twins continue to stink. Last night got clobbered again by the Mariners. Give up more after we haven't had a chance for Eric to rub in the fact that he was down at Target Field to see the Brewers score about 100 runs. 11-2 last night. The Mariners beat the Twins. They beat up Bailey Ober, Ober went 7 innings, but he had one really bad inning that cost him. So the Twins have now lost 9 of 10. They're 4 games under 500. The really interesting story actually surrounding the Twins that came out yesterday from Dan Hayes in The Athletic is that Rocco Baldelli very quietly had his contract option exercised, that he's going to be the manager of the team through 2026, which may have certainly raised some eyebrows when that story came out yesterday, knowing full well the Twins are still up for sale, and that if a new owner wants to maybe come in and clean house and do anything that he or she wants to do, now it certainly seems like the manager will be attached, or they're going to have to pay some sort of hefty buyout with that. Again, I'll go back to this point, and we brought it up yesterday on the show, that there are some decisions they're going to have to be made with this baseball team. They're going the wrong way. They cannot get anybody out right now. That there are some assets that teams would potentially overpay for that they're going to have to make up their mind on what they want to do. And that's as point blank as you can get about it. Frankly, that team is not nearly as exciting what's going on with the other team that occupies down near Target Field, and that's the Timberwolves, because the NBA draft begins tomorrow night. The Timberwolves have 2 picks. They have the 17th pick and the 31st pick. And if you know anything about what Tim Connolly has done since he's taken over as running the operation 3 years ago with the Wolves, is to prepare for the unexpected. Last year, that was the move up to get Rob Dillingham, to draft Terrence Shannon Jr. I fully expect the Wolves to do something, I don't know if crazy or bizarre is the right word, but they're certainly going to be active. They have the assets to either make a deal or a sign and trade potentially. That's going to be the fun part tomorrow night with the NBA draft. We all know Cooper Flagg is going to be the number 1 pick of the Dallas Mavericks. I was asked yesterday after the show wrapped up about the couple local prospects that we have in our backyard. What are their potentials there? First on Grant Nelson. I'm told Grant is going to have a small get-together on Thursday. We're working. I believe we're going to have Grant on the show Thursday as well. So stay tuned. We're going to have a Power Pack Thursday show later in the week. That draft prospects, I think, are slim. He's going to get a pro shot. Just a matter of who's going to give it to him, and go out to NBA Summer League in Las Vegas next month and then see what happens there. But there is the distinct possibility that that's going to happen. For Jackson Money, who's had a couple of workouts, again, I don't believe there's going to be a draft call for him. I also believe, though, NBA Summer League is definitely in his immediate future. So that's something to keep an eye on with the 2 local guys with the NBA draft set to happen with the first round coming up tomorrow night. The second round will happen on Thursday. ABC WDAY has the first round tomorrow, and then ESPN for the second round coming up on Thursday. So we'll keep our eyes peeled on that. Should be really interesting to see how all that unfolds over the next day or so with, of course, a couple of our local prospects there. We do it each and every day. We better do it before we wrap up. Let's do some What to Watch, presented by Northwestern Mutual. All right, so here we go. We got Mariners-Twins Game 2 coming up tonight, 6:30 on Twins.tv. Again, it's a rough go of it for the Minnesota 9. Lost 9 of their last 10. We'll see if they can turn things around at Target Field tonight. Speaking of tough times, holy cow, the Mets, they stink. They've lost 9 of 10 as well. They can't get out of their own way. They can't score runs. They can't get anybody out. Braves and Mets at TBS, 6 o'clock tonight. Also from the Gold Cup, Panama and Jamaica, 6 o'clock on FS1. That's the final games of the round robin. They'll get to the knockout stage coming up this weekend. That's the next time the Americans play. We got to wrap up from here. Shout out to our great with Brody and Alex here on site. They did an awesome job. Got us set up in about 20 minutes. Thanks as always to Cody Malk and Joe Malk for joining us. Wade Gilbertson. Who else? Mason Miller, Gray Zabel, just a cast of thousands. We'll see everybody back in studio tomorrow.